Welcome to April's edition of 4 and 4. My name is Kathy Halgren and I'm the director of South St. Paul Public Library. This month's 4 titles take place in New York City, France, England, and Russia. My first book is so fresh that we haven't even processed it yet, but it's so good I have to tell you about it right now. It's Mark Allen Smith's The Inquisitor. The main character, Geiger, is in the business of IR, information retrieval. No, he's not a librarian. He's an interrogator who works people over in order to get to the truth. His sidekick Harry is an alcoholic who is a bit like Stieg Larsson's Lisbeth Salander in that he uses his computer to get the scoop on clients and the Jones that Geiger will terrify into telling him what he wants to hear. Geiger is a bit of a mystery to himself and others as he appeared in New York City as a young adult with no recollection of his past. His personality is efficient but emotionally flat, kind of like Dexter. And when he has disturbing dreams, he suffers from migraines. His business has been moving along fairly smoothly until a client brings a child in for interrogation. And then things get really interesting as Geiger seeks the truth about the child and himself. It all hinges on the power of the mind, fear, and music. Jacqueline Yallop's Obedience is a hard book to characterize, but I found it very engrossing because it deals with World War II, convents, an occupied French village, and betrayal on many levels. When Sister Bernard was 30, the Germans occupied her small town, and she ended up having an affair with a young German who lost a bet with his comrades, ending up as the man who would seduce her. Sister Bernard is an enigma. She hears God, and he's not a warm fatherly figure. Her actual father is an ether, and the novel shows just what can happen when someone is ignored and desperate for kindness and love. In Sister Bernard's attempt to hold on to her perceived love, she commits an act from which she and the village never fully recovers. Betrayal abounds in this book, and it uncovers choices made during war that we don't often think about. The book alternates between the present day, when only 3 nuns are left in the convent, which is going to be closed, and 60 years before, when everything fell apart. It's not a difficult read, but one of those books that lingers with you for a while because so many characters are questioning their actions and their effect on others. My next novel, The Dark Rose, is by up-and-coming author Erin. As a teen, Paul becomes friends with Daniel since he rescued Paul from some harassing classmates, but things get a little ugly when he and Daniel start stealing copper and other metal to make a quick buck. Paul hopes to get loose from Daniel, straighten out, and go to college, but things take a turn for the worse when on one of their sprees they end up killing someone. Paul agrees to testify against Daniel and is sent away to work at Kelstis, a rundown Elizabethan garden that is being developed according to an 1850 map of the grounds. Here Paul meets Louisa, who has escaped from her rocky past and is one of the key players in restoring the gardens. Louisa has harbored an obsessive love for a musician named Adam, who Paul resembles, and the author does a great job in winding these two characters together and in foreshadowing the inevitable conclusion. The title comes from the fact that once a rose has died, another rose will not grow on that site. Right before the novel begins, the author has included the Raymond Chandler quote, "Dead men are heavier than broken hearts," from The Big Sleep. There's so much more to this book than I can tell you in a minute, but I absolutely loved it. The writing, the story, the characters, everything. My last book, Enchantments, is a real treat for all those readers who are fascinated with Russia's Romanovs. Kathryn Harrison, a versatile writer who has penned a true crime account, a stunning autobiography, as well as several beautifully written novels, now turns to St. Petersburg, the Revolution, and Rasputin's daughter Masha, who in this novel ends up living with the Romanovs following her father's murder. The young Prince Alyosha, a hemophiliac, is encouraged to be with Masha in the hopes that she may also be a healer like her father. Once the Bolsheviks take over, the royal family is placed under house arrest. While Masha does not have her father's healing touch, she does weave magical, fantastical stories to keep boredom and fear at bay during this stressful time for the prince. Masha and Alyosha let their imaginations run wild, and I hope you will too if you decide to check out this book. That's all for this edition of 4 and 4. See you in May with 4 more titles in 4 minutes.